All right, so when you hear the term natural resource, what pops into your head? You're probably thinking of things like oil, right? Or timber, maybe water. We kind of see them as these gifts just sitting there in the earth, waiting for us to find them. But what if I told you that's not really how it works? That the whole story is, well, a lot more interesting. Let's get into it.
Okay, check this out. This quote from geographer E.W. Zimmerman back in 1933, it's a total game changer. Resources are not, they become. Think about that for a second. The idea is that some rock or liquid in the ground is, well, it's just a rock or a liquid. It only becomes a resource when we, our culture, our smarts, our technology, figure out a use for it. We're the ones who give it value.
And this is the perfect way to picture it. For Stone Age culture, a chunk of flint was everything. It was the key to tools, to survival. I mean, it was priceless. But aluminum, which by the way is one of the most common elements in the Earth's crust, to them, it was just useless dirt. Why? Because they didn't have the tech to get it out of the ground and do anything with it. So you see, the value isn't in the thing, it's in what we can do with the thing.
Okay, so once we create a resource by figuring out what to do with it, something really predictable starts to happen. It turns out the way we go after these resources isn't random at all. It actually follows a pretty clear life cycle.
Yeah, there's actually a name for it, the resource cycle thesis. And it's basically a roadmap that helps us understand the journey of almost any resource you can think of, from that first exciting discovery all the way to its decline. It's the classic story of boom and, yeah, very often, bust.
So, this whole cycle breaks down into 4 main stages. First up, you've got discovery. This is the exciting part. Think of an old-timey gold rush. The first stuff you find is super rich and easy to get. That discovery kicks off stage 2, rapid growth. Suddenly, money and people are flooding in. Everyone wants a piece of the pie. But, that can't go on forever. Eventually, you hit the plateau. The easy stuff is gone, and you have to work a lot harder for less. And that, of course, leads to the final stage, decline. It gets too expensive, the resource starts running out, and that boomtown, well, it starts to go bust.
Now you can probably imagine, a cycle like this boom and bust, it doesn't just happen quietly. Oh no, it creates a ton of tension and conflict. It becomes this huge struggle over who gets rich, who pays the price, and ultimately, who's in charge. And this isn't some simple, one-sided fight. It's happening on 3 different fronts all at once, and they're all connected. We're talking about the economic fight, the environmental one, and the social and cultural battle.
So let's start with the economic front. It's pretty much a constant tug of war. In one corner, you've got these giant multinational corporations. They have the money, the tech, the global reach to get the resources out of the ground. But in the other corner, you have this thing called resource nationalism. That's when countries say, hey, wait a minute, this is our land, our wealth, and we want to be the ones who control it and profit from it.
And this whole struggle gets way bigger. It goes global. Because, and this is key, resources are not spread out evenly across the planet. This map right here is a perfect example. When a super important resource like oil is concentrated in one part of the world, it creates these massive centers of power. And that power doesn't just stay there, it shapes geopolitics for everyone for decades.
And we can actually put some numbers on that power. Just look at this data from 2010. You've got the Middle East producing nearly 1/3 of the entire world's crude oil. When you have that much of the planet's most vital resource in one spot, you have incredible leverage. It affects everything from the price you pay at the pump to major international conflicts. It just goes to show you, geography is never just about maps, it's about power.
Then, of course, you've got the environmental front. Let's be real, getting stuff out of the ground is almost never a clean process. It can mean depletion, pollution, and sometimes really nasty unintended side effects. Just think about something like fracking for oil shale. It has the potential to threaten the very water tables that people and farms need to survive.
And that brings us to the third front, the social and cultural one. For way too long, the people who actually lived on the land where these resources were found, their voices were just ignored. They were treated like an inconvenience if they were considered at all. But that is changing. Big time. All around the world, indigenous and local communities are standing up and demanding a say in what happens to their homes and their futures.
So, with all this conflict, this cycle of boom and bust, you have to ask, is there a better way? How can we manage these resources we all need, but do it in a smarter, fairer way? Well, people have come up with a few big ideas.
Basically, it boils down to 3 different ways of looking at the problem. First, there's the utilitarian approach. This is all about economics. What's the most efficient way to get the most good for the most people?
Then you have the conservation approach, which says, hold on, the environment comes first. We need to reduce, reuse, recycle. And finally, there's the community-based approach, which focuses on empowering the local people to be the guardians of their own resources. And as you can probably guess, getting these three to agree, well, that's where things get really complicated.
And all of this brings us right back to where we started. If it's true that resources aren't just found, but that they're actually created by us, by our society, that leads to a really wild question for right now. What's the next big resource that we're creating as we speak?
Seriously, think about it. It might not be something you can hold in your hand. The most valuable resource of this century might be something you can't even see. I'm talking about things like data, massive data sets. Or maybe it's genetic code. The same rule applies. These things only have value because we have figured out what to do with them. We are making them into resources.
So here's the final thought I want to leave you with. If we are literally in the middle of creating tomorrow's most important resources right now, don't we have a chance to do it better this time? Can we take everything we've learned from the messy boom and bust cycles of the past and design a better system from the get-go? A system that's more sustainable, more fair, and a lot less destructive? It's a big question, and one we all have to think about.